All right. Now let's talk about its hybrid ship, the Hayate. I don't have much experience with this, so PigBay, do you?
I enjoy the Hayate. I do like it. I think it's a perfect blend of the torps and guns. So the guns are bigger, obviously, than the Harugumo, but they do reload quicker than the Shimakaze.
Yeah.
Same guns. The AP and the HE still do really good damage. It's not like Shimakaze has bad guns. It's just that it has a very slow reload.
Yeah.
Has 2 launchers of 5, but you get a what's it called? Torp reload.
Yeah, torp reload.
So you could be a Shimakaze every now and then, especially if you're running that legendary captain.
Oh yeah.
Has smoke. I would say, yeah, I would leave it at good. I think it's just solid. I wouldn't put it in competitive just because, that torp reload is on the long side, but at least you have the guns to back it up too. So I would just leave it at good. I think that's pretty solid there.
Yeah, for good, I'd definitely say that it's borderline competitive just because it depends on the player, it depends on how you do it, but those torpedoes just hit like hard, hit just they're strong. And I've been killed plenty of times by Hayates, so I hate this ship. But yeah, the guns are much better than the Shimakaze, and that kind of fixes its one-trick pony nature. But now it has the one-trick pony occasionally, and that kind of just makes it clearly a better pick. But yeah, it of course doesn't always have that one-trick pony. Anything else on that day?
No.
Yeah, no, pretty simple, right? Henri the Fourth, cruiser. I am actually going to go straight to good. And it's just because you have the rapid reload, acceleration. It's a great ambusher. It does have horrible armor. But if you play it right, you sneak around the battlefield and you stay alive for a while. And, I will say, if you do have a carrier, it's playable. If you do have a carrier, it's playable because, of course, you can't do it. But it actually has pretty good HE. So even if it is spotted, it can still put out a lot of damage. But when you find a target by itself, the torpedoes, the guns, just everything, you'll rack up 50,000 damage in, easily 30-40 seconds. You do it quick. But with your smile, I'm wondering what your thoughts are, PigBay, on this one.
So I don't have it on the main account, but I did grab it on the press account. I did use a lot of my resources to test a couple of the legendary mods.
Oh, okay.
So I've only run this with the legendary mod. And let me tell you, I've had pretty good success.
Really? With the legendary mod? I hate it with the legendary mod on it. I hate it on the legendary mod. Jeez, what?
I've torn up some people with the AP because I refuse to fire the HE. AP all the way.
HE at long range only. Only at long range, and of course at DDs at close range. But that's the only time I ever use it. AP all the way.
I've only known it with the legendary mod, and I kind of like it.
Okay. And would you put it in good, or would you put it in competitive?
Yeah, I would put it in good. I put it in good.
Yeah, it's an overall solid ship. It's a great damage dealing ship, but of course, or at least in my playstyle, it's an ambusher. In PigBay's playstyle,
look at me.
Look at me.
Yeah, I mean, with the speed and especially the speed boost, once I get spotted, I end up going into a kiting position, and I'll play with my throttle a lot to try to throw off shells, especially with your engine accelerator.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I play that.
Okay, I can see that. Especially it turns like a brick.
Yeah.
Like a school bus.
Once you get turned, though, you got to survive the turn. But once you get turned, especially with the torps, if someone's chasing you, it's kind of like, the Zao cruiser line. You can send out torps as you're running away. And that's honestly the best position for those. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I can definitely agree. It's a good solid ship. I think it needs better AA, and then it would move into competitive because just a good carrier player is just going to run move you. I don't like that. Being a cruiser player, Hindenburg, I'm going to go right to playable on this one just because its AP is just nasty. Straight up nasty. It is. But the problem is everything else with the ship. It just, like, if you can, I think I've learned this definitely from Alistair, and I might eventually do it, is actually get the legendary mod for it. And then play it more like a battle cruiser, because you got the range, and now you really have to make sure your shells are landing on the bow or in the superstructure. And if you can do that, it's definitely in the good state and such. But the armor with it, it's got that just enough armor situation, similar to the Goliath. It's got decent maneuverability, and then of course anything gets close to you, you have a crap ton of torpedoes on each side. So it is definitely it just needs that one little thing, and I think it's just straight up range. But PigBay, what's your thoughts on the Hindenburg?
I would agree with that. I mean, it's the AP, from that German line. It's just solid.
Oh yeah.
Definitely aiming at the weak points. Also, you can run. What is his name? Hipper.
Yeah.
You run Hipper, get armor piercing cap shot plus, and then start really penning these battleships from range. But yeah, like it's rough to deal with until you get in that range. Because there's this threat area that you can't engage these battleships, or maybe even some of these cruisers, and they can engage you. So there's a thin line you got to play.
Yeah, I think Borderline should have Russian levels of range. And I think that would be insane, or at least Borderline, and then the Legendary module takes it right into that area. Because even with that, even at the armor, it's maneuverable enough to do that. It can defend itself against with DDs. With that, it would be a really good ship. It just needs that buff, and it clearly shows. On to the next one. Are you good?
Yep.
Khaba.
I hate it. Oh, this is another one I don't own it, but I've played on the press because of the Legendary mod. I don't like it. I just don't like the boat at all. There's better gunboats in my opinion.
Yep.
And there's really nothing that it does that other ships don't do better. Like the next ship that's coming out, it's a better Khaba.
Yeah. So the Khaba runs into the problem of it's been power corrupt, and it wasn't good off the bat. So, especially with the Grozavoy now in the area, the Grozavoy is just a better Khaba, and I've actually decommissioned my Khaba on my main account. I stripped of everything. I'm going to keep it just to have it, so I don't have to pay the $13 million. But overall, it doesn't fit anywhere, and everything that it does, something does it better. And such. And that's why I always advise, stop at the Kiev. It's lower in the water. Maybe do that. Wargame into the Kebab. And then maybe give it rapid reload too. More smokes. Maybe like 6 kilometer torps? Maybe? I don't know. Something like that. Or 7 kilometer? Like something kind of barely.
I don't like the Kiev either. So
I'd like the Kiev just because those guns are just so pinpoint accurate. But yeah, the Kebab, it just doesn't. It needs a lot of touch up, and then let alone, I actually think the Legendary mod should actually be what it is. I think it should be an augment. I think the Kebab should have great range, and then hey, trade out and you now get usable torpedoes. So now it comes to like this kind of altered ship. Mm-hmm. But that's just to me. But the Kleber, I'm grinding to it. I've played it, but of course you're the DD player. What are you thinking?
I would say good / playable. But just because it's in good / playable doesn't mean it's not fun.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing here. Guns, really good. Has a long reload. But man, when you have that rapid reload up, especially like when you're firing at another DD with armor piercing, you're shredding them. And they're gonna have to disengage. You have usable torps. You can't really, there's a very, very tiny window to stealth torp, but even then, that's still a greater range than the Khaba. So, I mean, it's a better Khaba. It's faster than the Khaba. It doesn't turn as well, but you're doing like 49 knots or something crazy.
Yeah. You're
50 with fast. 55. Yeah, 55 with engine boost. So,
yeah. So, the Kleber, I don't know where you're going to put it. Sorry, I cut you off.
I would say playable, good in good hands, good.
So I'm gonna push to playable, but I'd borderline it. It's not the same way, but I'd borderline niche actually, just because it's just such a unique ship to play. Because if you're in a ship, if you're in a game with a decent carrier, it's a need slot. This thing has a person on the side with a 9mm trying to shoot something out of the air. Like, it's not doing anything. I mean, but
it's pretty much any DD that's not Holland.
Yeah, pretty much at that point. That's why it's like, I'd agree with you on playable, borderline good. And I do love. I think it's definitely that borderline good situation because they finally gave it that +1 reload, +1
Yep.
on engine accelerator. I still think it needs one more of each, but I think that's definitely more of like, hey, it should just be kind of excessive because the guns are all it has. But the guns are so good, and the torpedoes are definitely more spam torpedoes, anyways. So it's not really about stealth torping, it's more about area of denial, constantly keeping them thinking, when are the next line of torps coming out, when are the next things, and just that speed makes it just a fun ship line to play.
Yeah.
Especially tier 7 plus and like that, it just gets fun. But yeah, it's definitely more playable. I think I don't know how I would make it better. It's kind of just already fun in its own position. What would you say about buffs?
All right, so well, if you want to make it better, make it more maneuverable, I guess.
Yeah.
And then what's it called? Another problem with the Kleber that the Marceau fixed is the turret traverse.
Oh yeah.
It's like 12 degrees or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's slow.
So I mean, it can't be a knife fighter with slow turrets. So maybe buff the turret traverse and then maneuverability.
Yeah, make it like capable of not necessarily knife fighting at like 3-4 kilometers like the Marcel the Marcel does, but make it be able to at least keep the guns on target at 7 kilometers. Like it's slow, but it's a fun ship line if you can make sure you stay at range. So now Kremlin, have you been able to play this?
I have not. Kremlin's one that I have not played.
Yeah, so in the current meta, just because of everything, if you have the legendary equipment and you have the legendary commander, or at least a very good commander, it ekes into good. But overall, it still needs a lot of help in playable. It just does not do well in games. It, because of that legendary equipment, and I know Terry kind of illustrated it further than my science videos did, but basically it changes who your biggest target is. Battleships were your biggest enemies because you had that just enough armor, but now you have enough armor that now cruisers become your biggest enemies, but you don't have the DPM to put them down. So it's one of those hard things that I just, the Kremlin needs a lot of stuff, especially with that slow reload. But I'm betting you've gone up against a few. What do you think?
Honestly, I think I've fought them a handful of times. I don't really, because you got to remember these things, they were nerfed like as soon as they came out, and for no reason. Like people didn't even have a chance to grind them out yet, and I thought those nerfs weren't really warranted, but now they're slowly trying to buff it. I guess play a while again. I haven't played it at all.
Yeah, it's a great port decoration. It is. It's a beautiful ship, but very few hands can put it in a very good place, and even then I think they would still agree there's better ships on there. So yeah, let's see, Richthofen.
Richthofen I would say is the weakest tier 10 carrier, so yes. I would put it at a good, I guess. I mean, yeah,
I'd actually argue niche because it's the only carrier that actually you want to carry or snipe. And then on top of it, it's a carrier for non-carrier players. It's so stupid I can play it. But no, it's a fun line, but it's not great in any way. It really doesn't do anything.
Yeah, the only reason why I rank it above is just because even a bad carrier will accidentally spot people for your team.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's by far, I think, the worst.
It is. It definitely is the worst, but it is. I'm going up for it. I think I'm still stupid for going up for it, but it's just fun because at least now, like at the end of the game, I can just be like, YOLO, just go, and you'll rack up 30-40K with those secondaries. They are devastating, and the AA is actually pretty good. So even Midway fighters and Midway bombers will actually die a lot from the Richthofen. It's quite surprising, but it needs a lot of help. But it's just it's a non-fire HE, or it's not an HE fire starting carrier, which is incredibly powerful because then you can work with your team on that stuff. but also it's just the fighters are very flimsy. There's a lot of issues, but
Yeah.
it is one of those carriers. Actually, this is the one carrier that, yes, its
Yeah,
main strat is carrier sniping. Like, it's to remove the other carrier.
Yeah, I mean the AP bombs. If you're not like hitting the carrier, it's hard to rely on citadels on anything else. You know what I mean? And honestly, I was with the whole line. I was just disappointed that they didn't give it guns. Like you have auto secondaries. If it would have stayed exactly the same, but had freaking Graf Zeppelin levels of guns, I would have gone up this line in a heartbeat.
No, they need to just add more, like, just straight up. It's a fantasy project, anyways, from Wargaming.
Come on.
Add 4 guns on each side that are like 180s, for Christ's sake. Just make them hilarious. Make them reload every 10 seconds. I don't care. Just put them in there with decent range, and this line will be hilariously fun. Yeah, on the Richthofen specifically, of course, give the smaller ones too, but it's just like they're just fun. They're just good. They're not. Yeah. They're stupid. They're stupid in this game, and it's almost akin to the Kleber, but the Richthofen is just. I wouldn't suggest it if you're trying to go.
I wanted it. I wanted it to be a cruiser with a flight deck. That's all I wanted, and they didn't even give it to me.
I know, right? I was like, come on, just give it a few more guns, give it manually controlled guns, and then make its fighters and its bombers and dive bombers. Just give it a little bit more health, and I think it would be in a perfect shape. I think it would go right up to good, if not competitive, because once again, it's a carrier. You can do a lot. So
yeah.
Now to our newest one, the Marceau.
Marceau, I love this boat. A lot of fun. So the guns don't hit as hard as Kleber, but they reload way faster. It's like having rapid reload on all the time because it reloads. I think I dropped mine down to 3.1 because I did the reload buff because it didn't need turret traverse because the turrets turn like 40 seconds or 40 degrees a second. I think. But
if you go completely meme build on it, they go all the way up to like 60.
It's ridiculous. No one needs that much.
But you do.
I mean, I'm happy with a 3.1 second reload. So
that is true. That is true.
I would take it to good / competitive, more good, because depending on the player. But other things that it brings to the table is it can stealth torp pretty well. But not only that, the torpedoes reload every 40 seconds. And you have 2 launchers per side. Launchers per side. And honestly, when you launch one set, you start turning the boat around, you launch that set, it already feels like your other set's coming back off of cooldown. So you just start turning around. So you can play that Clemson kind of turny torpedo game. But the thing is that these do have range, and this ship is pretty stealthy. And quick.
I definitely go borderline competitive, but I'm gonna put it in good just because, of course, the range on those guns are really rough, and then let alone when you are firing at long range with those torpedoes. Yeah, you're putting out a lot of them, but you're gonna miss most of them because that spread is horrific. Yeah. They are definitely more area of denial, but they are fast enough, unlike the Elvings. I like that, and I think the Kleber actually would kind of benefit from those 6. Or not. I think they've got 7 kilometers, and the Marcel is like 9.6 or is 9 or something around that.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I just know that there's a good window to stealth torp.
Yeah, so it's like I think the Kleber would benefit from that too, just because once again they're just you sending out, you're only hitting 1 or 2 out of 6. Yeah. Like they just have so much spread. So the Marcel definitely is a clearly better. It was a lot of fun. And I'm gonna regret if I don't decide to pull the trigger on it, but I'm kind of like I've spent too much money. I need a hold.
Well, here's the thing. One of the reasons I decided to pull the trigger, I'm like, you know what? I didn't expect them to release this as a straight up purchase. I want them to see that this is the way that people want to buy these ships.
Yeah.
So that's what I ended up doing. I'm like, I'm gonna support it. Yeah. I didn't go for the $99 bundle because
it's not worth it.
Yeah, I just stuck my Republic dude on him. I'm like, whatever. I'll use that engine accelerator instead, and because I think it doesn't add 100%. It's like it reduces the cooldown, which I think is a little more beneficial.
Yeah, because you're actually able to. The Jujard just literally gives it double the time. Yeah, and such, which that kind of works on the Kleber, but the problem is, guess what? He doesn't have rapid reload plus. Like it's just
Yeah.
you don't have that, and that's everything that makes the ships they are. So it's just Jujar just doesn't make it as good as it should be, and it really is one of those problems. I wish Jujar was better, but Felipe is just clearly the best. So
yeah.
Yeah, Marceau better than that. Oh, Midway.
Top tier.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. That
That's
is yeah. It's absolutely and erroneously dangerous, and
it's the simpler one to play.
Yep.
Because you only got one torpedo squad to worry about. Dive bombers hit pretty often. I can't count how many times I've been in a DD and just took one dive bomber and lost like 4K health, and I'm like, oh, really? That's how we starting the game off? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So,
including the amount of fires you get too.
Yeah. Well, the thing has, I think the planes have like a 60% fire chance.
Yeah. It's nuts.
If I remember correctly. But yeah, it definitely, you can mesh it with other ships. Again, the usual suspects: Smolensk, Conqueror, Holland. What else? Anything else that we've mentioned so far?
Yeah. There's so many ships now. Can't keep track. I think there's 51. I think we counted.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, top. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yeah. So yeah, Midway, you don't really need to say much. Add in the legendary module that just lowers the dispersion that they buffed a few updates back, which was just no one said a damn thing about that. But no, Midway is the easiest like carrier line to play. I highlighted that in one of my videos. It's just stupidly easy, and it's disgusting. It's just don't. But Minotaur, I'm gonna take this one, so it's going right up to the top 2. Like, just, It's a insane DD. It has soul-crushing amounts of firepower. It is AP only, so you have to be prepped for that. But if you wait, you learn all the things that you need to for this ship to play it, it's disgustingly powerful. It's just amazing. Add in the legendary module, add in BD. Good God, you have a single person that can hold a flank if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. It is insanely good. I think it's Alistair said this or Matt. It's a balance. Actually, it's Alistair. It's a balanced Smolensk. It has a ceiling, but it has a very low floor because, of course, you show broadside in this thing, just right out the map. Just you're done.
Smacked.
Yep. It's such a high skill sailing ship and high risk, high reward. It's fun.
Yeah.
Do you have
best DD at tier 10?
Yeah. That's true. Both HMS.
It actually has pretty decent AA as well, and you got that DFA as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, I do have the ship. It sits as, between one of them and my other favorite, what's it called, cruisers to play at tier 10. So at tier 10, I like playing cruisers. I don't know why, just for that tier alone.
Oh yeah.
Anything else, I'm probably playing a DD or a battleship. But tier 10, for some reason, I like cruisers the most. And Minotaur and Wooster are my absolute 2 favorites.
Oh yeah. No, the Minnow is just absolutely fantastic. It is the DD at tier 10. It's so much fun. But you have to understand how to play DD and then a little bit of how to play AP only ship, but also add on top of it, the grind will forcibly teach it to you anyway. Good luck, son. Like, it is painful if you don't follow the right rules. So it's
I didn't mind the grind.
No,
I didn't mind the grind.
There's no bad ship above tier 5. It just keeps on getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and then you've got the Belfast, which is a great premium. The Plymouth, which is a great one too. On top of it, there's just
great
so much
captain trainers.
Oh yeah, especially if once again BD also comes around often, so it's not exactly hard to say you'd have them. So I don't think we can talk up the Minotaur anymore. It's just
if you have BD, it's a must-have. Minotaur is a must-have.
Oh yeah, it's just like the Holland. If you have Swirsky, you go up the Holland line.
Yeah,
you just do. So, Montana.
I think it's all right. It's a solid ship. It's not. It's like the gearing of battleships. Like, it's not the best, but it's not the worst.
Yeah.
You have decent AA. Guns, you have a lot of them. Hit pretty hard.
Yep. Fairly accurate.
It's and it's not the quickest thing out there, but it's not slow. It's like what I think it's like 28 knots or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
So I think good. It's a solid place. You get rapid reload 1. I wish it was a little higher, especially with like power creep and stuff like that. But even then, it's still pretty solid.
I'm gonna argue borderline competitive, just because it's clearly better than the Conqueror. It's clearly better than the Großer Kurfürst in that area.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And in reality, it actually already does have pretty, like, it does need stuff, but it's barely competitive for me. But it just it's one of those things where it's like it's got its foot into competitive. If it had DFA 3, which I think it should, if it had rapid reload 2, I think it would go right into top meta. But right now, it's just overall an insanely solid ship, and the issues that it needs to get fixed are just quality of life, really.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So it's not like we're the Conqueror, you need to fundamentally change the healing or have a legendary commander to fix it. The Montana literally is just needs that, one extra skill or just a little extra this. Like, it's much easier than, per se, bumping the Großer Kurfürst. You need a lot of stuff going for it in order to actually make it good. So the Montana ekes it foot into competitive to me, but would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Well, I guess that's done. That was quick. Moskva.
You played Moskva more. I do have Moskva.
Okay.
But you can take this one.
Top tier meta. It's just the best sniper. It's the best cruiser in game. Handles everything. And like that. While the Minnow is the best DD cruiser, this is the best battle cruiser. It does everything. Especially when you have played it. First thoughts, like anything else you want to share?
I was very happy way back when they added the radar. Super stoked about that. Made it have a little more utility. Very accurate guns. Even if you're firing AP at DDs from range, keyword from range, you'll knock some health out. You'll be hitting them for 1k per shell.
Yep.
Definitely though, once those DDs start moving in closer, you gotta swap. You gotta swap to HE.
Then Loki, really good secondaries.
Yeah.
Khaba
is really good. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, Moskva's perfect. It literally is the perfect battlecruiser in this game, and it can tank so much. It's got that radar. It's got that perfect mix of everything, and if the Nevsky just had a little bit more maneuverability, I'd argue right there with it. Like, it just has it, but Moskva's insane.
Yeah, you already know I love Moskva, the Moskva guns.
Oh. Yeah.
Made a short about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That was a good one. Oh, man. Napoli. Now, of course, this is post-nerf Napoli.
Yeah. All right, so pre-nerf Napoli goes straight to friggin' top meta because I've never seen a DD melt that quick. All right, so for those that don't know what happened, when Napoli was initially released to the CCs, the auto secondaries, all right, keyword is auto, were hitting just as hard as the manual secondaries. So while your autos are going off, you're firing your manuals, and they're both hitting for like 400s with SAP, and it was amazing.
It was 500.
It was 500. Never mind, 500. Sorry.
It was so bad.
It was the best thing ever. And then on top of that, you had secondary overload, so you would just increase your range and the rate of fire. It was the best. I loved it. Post, I'm gonna say Post is not that bad at killing DDs still. Just because those manual secondaries are still pretty good at killing DDs. And with the secondary overload, buffing the reload of those and the range, it still works out pretty well. Guns, honestly, I don't mind. I normally just fire AP out of them. They're
pretty good already. The HE sucks anyways, so
yeah, I don't swap to HE at all. I keep because if I'm going to shoot at DD, I'm just going to stay on the manuals,
So where would you place it?
I place it at good.
Good? Okay.
Yeah, I place it.
I want to say good. I'd actually argue niche. Because that range of those guns.
Okay.
Like, it is just the same, except the complete opposite of the Golden Leo. Or the Golden Lion. Because now it can actually take on DDs. But you get close to a battleship, and those secondaries pretty much do nothing.
Yeah.
It's literally hitting them with a wiffle ball bat. You're just like trying to, and it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you'll see a bunch of zeros.
Yeah, and its guns are good. They're short range though, and we've already run into that problem where it just doesn't have it. It doesn't have that strength that it should, and I really wish it did. I really wish it was pre-nerf secondaries.
Oh yeah.
I would just be
that.
like, hey, screw it. Napoli's the German cruiser that we've all wanted. But yeah, no, the guns are good. I would definitely once again, niches plays the field, but overall, it's gonna be good. I would say niche just because if you're not in a DD heavy game, it's a very lackluster cruiser. But when you're in a high DD game, it's like a Venezia. You're just like, come at me, bitch. Come at me. Doesn't matter. You're going to die. So I would argue. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with it. Definitely, you got to know what your targets. You got to know who you can fire at, who you can get away with firing at. Because, again, with that AP that is good, if you really want to be shooting at battleships, you got to hit the weak spots.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Know your target.
Yeah, and that's why it's like Napoli. I want to say good. I would agree with you, but it's team dependent on the enemy team. And as much as I enjoy it no matter what, and even if you do get into a battleship situation, especially with the Christopher Colombo, which, by the way, you kind of pen, which is kind of hilarious with the secondaries. But once again, you're going up really close to a Christopher Colombo then, and it doesn't work out for many people anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He has a lot of guns.
Yeah, it does. That's why if anyone looks at my stats, don't look at my Napoli stats. Okay, thank you. Please buy. Thank you. Bye. On to Ohio.
Ohio, I do own Ohio. I think, oh god, I can't remember the rapid reload. It does have rapid reload, so it's a good captain trainer for Montana.
Yep.
Hard hitting guns, but not as many. So you have 4 turrets of 2 guns apiece. I forgot the caliber of the guns.
It's the Shikishima.
Is this?
Or no, it's Yamato. It's Yamato. Guns. Yeah. 457,
so,
I think it is.
Yeah, they definitely hit hard.
Yeah.
Especially if you get citadels, because those big guns, they get 300% citadel damage.
Yeah.
So
yep,
definitely do a lot of damage. I would just say good. It's a Montana with bigger guns, but less guns.
Yeah, that's kind of where the problem is. It's those less guns. If you don't hit those citadels,
yeah,
you're not doing it, and that's why I would say Montana isn't competitive, but Ohio isn't good. It's kind of more the reason why I said that the Montana eked into competitive, because putting them next to each other is kind of disingenuous. Because the Ohio, as much as it is a good solid ship, it's just you can feel it's missing something. You can feel that if you don't get the citadels, it's just not as fun. It's just like the Georgia to the Iowa. You just kind of one of those things. It's just it's nice, but God.
Yeah, but Georgia has that engine acceleration.
Oh yeah, engine accelerator 1, yay.
Yep.
Or no, actually 3, isn't it 3? Actually, no,
I don't know. I don't
think they went full mean. But if not, it's like, oh cool, I can rush into battle even faster and get torqued by DDs because I can't defend myself against DDs.
It's so you can flank.
Oh yes, please. At least it's better than a flanking Vermont. Let's move on to the next one. Pietro. So have you tested this test account?
I have not tested this one. This is one that I do not own.
So I'll handle this one. It's going right into needs love. So the main problem with this is that basically this is a Moskva. We got the Moskva guns. No utility. Horrible reload. And by the way, your armor is ubiquitous. The entire thing's the exact same armor. So what happens is that people citadel you through your front plate.
Nice.
By the way, Elbing will citadel it. I've gotten a citadel crisis out of a Pietro before. It's just so bad.
To be fair, Elbing will citadel a lot of cruisers.
It is, but this is through frontal, just straight front. You should not be able to do that in a DD.
Yeah.
But the Pietro is supposed to be. It makes it even better when you look at the description. It says it's an armored cruiser that has 363 turrets, which is cool, and I wish it was good. But then you also add in everything with the entire line, which is the Talon's mediocre, the Riga, oh dear lord, it sucks.
Yeah,
it's almost borderline rune, if not worse. Just the DPM. the DPM of this thing's got laser guns, horrible accuracy. It's just everything is like, it's just like, hey, we're gonna make a Moskva that's got 360 turrets. The entire community, yay! When it comes out, this is bullshit. Like, it's just such a bad ship. It's so bad.
Yeah, I wish I could have played it. I honestly, I'm at the Riga and I really don't feel like grinding it. I look at it and I'm like, I guess I'll just grind the St. Louis.
Yeah, no,
St. Louis, I guess.
Yeah, the St. Louis. The Henry is so much better, but no, the Pietro, don't touch this line until it gets massive buffs to its dispersion, massive buffs to its reload. You know, this is borderline Goliath, but I'd actually even a Goliath is almost arguably better because at least it has the heals that can hold up the smokes that can hide and the HE to start fire, even though it's got the high HE fire chance problem. But
yeah,
the Pietro, yeah, no. Okay, so Preussen actually asked for, basically send everyone over to you because everyone decided to make sure that I never got a good game that stream. So Preussen, what's your thoughts on it?
The Preussen, I love it. Honestly, it reminds me of Montana, but with better AP because it's that German AP that just pens better for some reason. Secondaries are decent. Surprisingly, the AA is better than some, of the other German ships. I have gone clear skies with it a couple times. What else? Accuracy is better in a lot of other German ships that you would expect, like battleships and stuff like that. I would say between competitive and good. More leaning towards good, though. Competitive. I'll put in competitive. I like it.
Yeah, it's borderline competitive. I completely agree with you. It's just like the Montana. It sticks its foot in there because of those guns. Those 12 guns. Once again, you've got a lot of them. It's the exact same way as Burgonia. You have a lot of guns. You got a decent niche, which once again the secondaries, and like that Montana being kind of the overall. But it's like just the Prussian. It's just if this is exactly what the next line is approximately when it comes out, this is gonna be great, and it's gonna be awesome. Yeah. So I really do. I wish I could have brought better content, but everyone likes to focus on the CC. Yeah.
Well, trust me, I know. Oh, I know.
Oh yeah, we all know. It's PCC time. Puerto Rico. I actually just got this on my account, and I'm gonna say it's good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It has utility.
Yeah, it's got 12 guns.
Radar.
Yep. It's got a lot going for it. Yeah. If you know where to shoot, it gets almost borderline competitive. But yeah, no, it's just 6 and good to me. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say? It's one of those middle of the road. It's just good.
Just good. I wish it was a little better at dealing with EDs, but again, if you have teammates backing you up with that radar, it definitely helps out because I'm gonna keep saying it. Utility wins games.
It's a team comp ship. If you team it up with someone, you're gonna roll and have amazing games. When you're solo, depends on it. But I have found exactly what Alistair, who's actually an insane player with the Puerto Rico here. He says that basically, and I've now slowly started to experience it. Occasionally games you'll be, damn, this is better than the Stalingrad in accuracy. In other games, I can't hit the broadside of a barn at 100 meters. Like its accuracy is all over the place. So yeah, kind of get used to it being a temperamental little one, but it's a fun ship. So
the old Lenin dispersion.
Oh yeah, right. Republique.
So this, I'd put it at top.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it right now. Republic is still good, even after the nerfs. It's still really good. That rapid reload, especially if you're running what's that lieutenant commander? We just talked about
Felipe.
Yeah, if we're Felipe, it's nasty.
Oh yeah.
It's perfectly built for Republic. Republic's quick, guns hit hard. You only got 8 of them, but they're monstrous, and that rapid reload definitely makes up for it. If you time it right, you can get 3 salvos per rapid reload.
Yeah,
but you got to time it perfectly.
Yep. And you can also have the speed boost to get anywhere you need to get in the match to be specifically capable, or you can run away and kite and still do incredibly well with this ship. The Republic is an insanely good ship. I completely agree. It sits right there at the top. I like that PigBay is blocking you, but it's okay. We like seeing you instead. But yeah, no, Republic, especially with the Alsace now getting buffed and the Gascon being a pretty decent ship, it's a fun grind. Lion's a meme, but you know, whatever happens. But Republic is just straight up insane. This is a ship that I know I personally wanted to ask you about. Shikishima, PigBay.
I hate it, but that's just me. All right, for some strange reason, I will say right now, any battleship that is Japanese, I suck with. All right, except for Hyuga. For some strange reason, Black Azumo, I like. Well, Black Azumo has rapid reload and precise aim.
Yeah, it's
so it has
the best combo in game.
Yeah, so it has Roma treatment, but Yamato, I fucking suck with it. Oh, excuse my language. Excuse my French.
No.
I got like 100 games in that thing. I think I got about 60,000 average damage, but like a 46% win rate. I don't understand it, but for Shikishima, having less amount of guns than the Yamato, there's no real benefit to having bigger guns in it. You know if you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So having bigger guns is not really that much of a benefit than Yamato, just because one, you're getting more shells on target. Yeah. Yes, they are bigger. They, I think it's Citadels for like 350, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you can definitely. You can go all the way up to, I think it's like 12,000 damage with depending on the ship, but it's mostly 10,000 Citadel.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
And you got to be running Yamamoto, I believe, too, with that Citadel.
It's a meme build at that point. It's a meme build.
Yeah. I would put it between playable and good. Some people might get mad at that, but I'm not good with it.
I'm going to completely agree with you. I've had some hilarious games in the Shikishima, but you need a Citadel. And if you don't Citadel, it's borderline good.
And that's the thing is, like, you can't rely on getting Citadels in every game. Nope. Like, there's few ships that can do that. For some reason, Yukon, I can get Citadels with that thing. But
yeah, you and Yukon.
I like it. I like the Yukon. I think it's a great buy for 50 silver. Get you know. But yeah, like especially here in Blitz, it's so hard to rely on Citadels. So if you try to build this thing around it, it's going to be like, oh yeah, every so often in a match you might get a Citadel and it'll be hilarious. It'll be like 10,000 damage. But to me, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, no, I'd completely agree with you. It's borderline good just because, yes, it's more of that meme machine. If you have Yamamoto and you've got him, of course, spec'd him up all the way, which is a lot of work. The Shikishima can kind of become this meme machine, but else it's just kind of got the Georgia treatment, which just doesn't have enough guns. Yes, it hits hard. You have absolutely no way of defending yourself against DDs. It's just pure sniping, and it's kind of boring. But yeah, good. I think you're completely right. It just sits in good, but if you don't have Yamamoto, if you don't have a level 12 commander, it's barely playable. It's definitely unplayable.